Hello, friends. Evening. I'm Dr. Amar, and I welcome you to the evening webinar session. Subject on the basis on the based on the subject of health, and let's begin with a little prayer. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great masters, sages, and saints of all religion, we bow before you all. Please help us to understand the teachings of yoga and give us strength and courage to apply these teachings in our daily life. Om Shanti. Shanti. So, friends, I was just watching a program, some time back, and this was something which it was a program, which was being anchored by a psychiatrist, and he was sharing some of the things, which the modern age is, as a psychiatrist, how his experience was, keeping in mind the kind of the age we are living in. Because if you see, human beings are at the topmost level of any species you may compare. And because of, not because of our any bodily strength, but because of the brain, and especially in the brain, this prefrontal lobe, which is the only area of the brain which human beings have, and which no other animal species have. And that is because it has its analytical capability, it has its reasoning capacity, it has a free will. And because of that, human beings are one of the most advanced, or the only advanced creation in the world as compared to any animal reality. But on the other hand, if you see, it is very ironical, as I was listening to that talk, that about 14% of the population, especially in the West, is under depression, because and they are taking antidepressants. Now imagine 14% is a very high number. And when we this data was obviously about 2.5 years back. And when we see situation coming right now, as we are seeing that people are losing jobs and they have so much of fear, then it is quite natural that we go into depression, you know uh, quite more often. Because even in scenario in India, some time back, this was a data that about 40% of the people in corporates, they are living life under some kind of stress. And stress is taking a heavy toll. In fact, about 150,000 people in India also, they commit suicides, which is very staggering. That how this whole generation, and these are all young people in their prime age, like between 20-year-old to about 30-35 years old. And so what exactly, on one side we see that human beings having this exceptional ability which God has given to them as a brain, but on the other hand, we are, on the other spectrum, it projects a very dismal picture. And the reason, one of the reason is that we, if you see in our schools also, although we have a highly advanced brain, but what they teach us in schools is only information. They just tell us how to remember things, or how to have more and more knowledge, how to have more and more data. But hardly anybody tells us in our school life how to use our brain. Because it's something, like having a tool which has which has, I mean, lot of capacity, lot of ability to do things, but nobody teaches us, that how to use that tool. It is like carrying a sharp knife in your pocket, but at the same time, you hardly know that it can, if it can cut things, it can also cut the individual if it is not handled carefully. And this is exactly the reason, friends, why, despite having a very important tool with us, we are not able to use it safely and at the same time to the best optimal capacity. But fortunately, in yoga science, we say that the rishis and the sages, they always knew, with their thousands of years old science, by experimenting with their own experience, by going deeper into the experience of how the mind operates, they were enlightened enough, and that is the reason why the knowledge and this wisdom of yoga is getting more and more popular, and it is coming from east to the west and kind of making now global waves, that how we can take control of the mind, which is possible. It's like it is just like when we learn to use any gadget, whether it is a computer or a car, we need to practice, we need to understand how much, what is the information available to me on the car dashboard, let us say, and how can I use it so that I can take the best of my car or my computer. And as a medical, doctor, I would say that one of the focal points which these sages they took, which they understood that this is one part of our reality. If we use it, or rather, if we use it as a thread to reach, the inner dimensions of our brain and how our mind operates. So that thread was picked up in the breath. And this is very interesting because breath is that part of our reality which is not only controlled by the unconscious self, but also it has some degree of conscious control. If you see, this breath is controlled in part of the brain which we call brainstem. And this brainstem also controls our heartbeat, our blood pressure, also our digestion, and also there is a part of the brain. So all this is happening because your heartbeat and your blood pressure and your digestion and your blood and all these things are happening at a subconscious level. We don't have a conscious control over them. So there is some part of our brain which is constantly active, taking all that feedback from the organs and trying to have a control over them. And at the same time, if you see, there is also another component in our brain which processes the emotions, because when we are, let's say, fearful or we are angry, all these are emotions which we might have experienced at one point or the other. And so both these things, if you see, they are under the subconscious, they come under the subconscious terrain of our brain, and that is also linked with the breath. If you see, the breath also becomes little erratic, when we are under the sway of those emotions. If we have, let's say, anger, our breath is different. If we are peaceful, our breath quality is different. So what these sages understood was that if we can just take this thread and pick up this thread in the breath, then by consciously observing this breath, we can have control over that part of our brain also, which is under a subconscious control, or let's say, which is not under a direct conscious control. So this was very interesting, which these sages they found out, or they discovered, because last time, if you see, I shared with you all what Yogananda said as a very simple kind of quotation which he gave to his disciples, that learn to be calmly active and actively calm. And what he meant there was that we that if even if we have this notion that if we are resting passively, that passive rest can actually fatigue us, that passive rest can deplete us, whereas a calm activity can rejuvenate us, it can give us energy, it can nourish us. Now, today we are going to do a very simple activity, and I'm going to tie these two things together. That how, by observing the breath, because breath is that tool which we are using to take the control of our subconscious mind, but observing it very calmly and making the whole thing as a calm activity, and then see how, what effect it has on our body, what effect it has on our emotions and on our mind. So let's do this activity, which is very simple. Let's first sit in our chairs away from the back of the chairs so that you're not slouching. You are firmly seated in your comfortable posture and also with a straight spine, but you're also centered in yourself. So you're not leaning backward, or you have the complete control over your body, but at the same time you are absolutely relaxed. So let's do two cycles of double breathing. Let's inhale double from our nose, short and long, And exhale double with our nose and mouth. Again, inhale double and exhale double. One more time. And this time, as we inhale, try to tense all your body muscles from feet, legs, thighs upwards. And as you inhale, tense your body muscles. Hold the tension as long as it's comfortable and breathe out. Relax. One more time. Hold the tension in your body from your feet, legs, thighs, abdomen, arms, shoulders. Relax. Now, please keep your eyes closed and we will do a few cycles of even count breathing. I'll keep a count for you. So let us inhale to the count of 4. Hold the breath and breathe out. Again, breathe in, hold, breathe out, breathe in, hold, breathe out. Now let's do this even count breathing, keeping the same number of count by taking in, holding, bringing it out. Let's do 3 cycles at our own pace. Keep a mental count 444 or 555, whatever is comfortable. And this time, let us keep a close watch. Let us not control our breath anymore. Just observe the breath each time your belly is moving up and down. Just follow the movement of your belly with each breath. Closely observe the rise and fall of your belly. Now gently bring your attention into the nostrils and try to feel the air currents inside the nose as you're breathing in and out. Try to feel very closely how these air currents are brushing inside your nose each time. And remind yourself that I am just observing calmly my own breath. I have no hurry. I am not thinking about past or future. I am just observing this breath, which is flowing in and out. You can even chant Om mentally without any movement of the lips. As you're observing each breath going in and out, continue to chant mentally Om, but loudly, as if you are engaging the whole universe when you are mentally chanting Om or peace or joy on each breath going in and going out. Let's practice this for 1 more minute. Now take a deep, long breath through your nose and breathe out long and deep. One more time, take a long and deep breath through your nose and breathe out long and deep through your mouth. And then you can gently open your eyes whenever you feel like opening them. So friends, this was a very brief exercise that I did with you just to give you a taste of that statement, which I discussed last time, that how calm activity can rejuvenate us, whereas a passive rest can deplete us. So please, you can share some comments in the chat box how you're feeling now, and you can also write us. And at the same time, when if you're feeling this calmness in your heart at this moment, which I shared with you, that how breath is that thread which the rishis and the sages discovered, so that we can take control of that part of our mind which is not under our conscious control, but which is regulating our emotions, which is regulating our heartbeat, which is regulating our blood pressure. So it's not surprising, when modern research says that yes, meditation can help you to go beyond anxiety and depression. It can help you to remain in that state of perpetual joy and self control, which all these sages they discovered thousands of years old. But this research will remain just a research if it is not going to be practiced. But if you will practice, it can become an everyday reality for you. And not only this will be a reality for you, but you can be an instrument where you can share with some others, those who are toiling in this battle of life, and you can be a helping hand to them. So thank you, friends. And now I'll hand it over to Aditya if he's sharing some other comments.
Thank you, Amar, and good evening to everybody. I want to start by mentioning two things. First of all, this is the second request we have received. I was just seeing the comment section to present the classes in Hindi. So let me say this in Hindi, that we will start the classes. तो हम लोग अभी अगले हफ्ते से ही डॉक्टर अमर और मैं ये क्लासेस हिंदी में भी करेंगे हेल्थ एंड हीलिंग के लिए. एंड इट विल बी आवर ग्रेट ऑनर. वील बी वेरी हैप्पी. हमें बहुत खुशी होगी ये क्लासेस हिंदी में करने के लिए. हमें बस एक हफ्ते का टाइम दीजिए एंड हम लोग टाइम और स्लॉट यहाँ पे प्रमोट करेंगे. Now, friends, I want to just mention in a passing something which all devotees would know, or practitioners of meditation from different lineages also. But the way Yogananda ji phrased it was, let's say Dr. Amar had us do this breath exercise. So yes, as an observer, you may say, oh yes, we are working with the physical breath. My physical breath is really calming down. As somebody also just now posted a comment, I'm feeling very relaxed and refreshed. Health, immunity, sleep, issues like hypertension, and many other things. About 120 to benefit, it happens. But then the intriguing may ask this question, but what's really going on? Okay, I think we are back on track. The video had paused for a moment. But anyway, I was saying that the prana is available. But then, friends, that prana helps us take one step higher, and it makes us uplift our consciousness. Now, this is a very important thing because we all must have experienced this, that at some or the other point in our life, we go through a phase where you're feeling so confident, so inwardly guided, happy, calm, not affected by outward negative circumstances, that you're able to find a solution. So I would like to tie what Amar made us do to a few advices for all of us. If you are a meditating practitioner of meditation, I urge you to prolong your periods of meditation in this global lockdown situation. New sense of calmness and raises our awareness, have an uplifted consciousness. And secondly, let's take this period of lockdown not to drive us. It's been already a few weeks. So if you're finding a pattern where anxiety or fear is still somewhere on your shoulders, I would say find a way to quickly turn the equation as you're seeing a solution. It may be very radical from your present understanding, but going forward, you may say, oh, all I needed was to simplify my life. Oh, all I needed was to change tracks in my profession, or look at my profession in a different angle, or perhaps in the same office, play another role than what I was playing. So these insights, really, I'm speaking from experience. I have changed tracks a few times in my life, each time to my benefit, and they have brought more joy, more security, an inner sense of surety. And I would say that, again, today you may feel, oh, this may be too dramatic if life changes for me. But we are already in dramatic times. Take one step at a time. Life will not surprise you. It will, and if it has to surprise you through meditation, you will have the strength and the knowing to take that step. And as Amar said, help yourself and help other people. So we will continue this series of Radiant Health, especially exploring how to use this time of silence and seclusion and how to turn it to our advantage. So for now, the advice is meditate more. And if you haven't learned, and all our centers across the world are offering these classes, please learn how to meditate and share it with others. Thank you so much.